Manchester City have now won their last 3 games in the Premier League. That's their best run this season since October, and what a way to win this one. Pep Guardiola is with Juliet Farrington.
Pep, if you're going to win matches, important, huge matches, and you're going to have a grandstand finish, it's nights like this that make you celebrate with such enthusiasm, with such joy.
We are not used to. So I think the last minute games winning belongs Liverpool, especially. How many times with Jurgen in the last minute scores, Arsenal as well with Mikel. We are not used to. So I'm really, really happy, you know, for the goal that we scored at the end, because we are in the last 4 or 5 games, and you know, with a Champions League contender, you know, qualification, like it's Aston Villa, like it's, you know, Aston Villa is a team like in the last month approved is one of the top of the best teams in, you know, in Europe, and we play really, really good in all departments. In our aggressive, in our duels, the back four was unbelievable in all departments. So yeah, I'm really pleased for the game we played.
You just kept going, and in that 94th minute when you scored that winner, and you talk about you haven't had that feeling for a long time. What was that feeling like to have it back again?
Come on, so football is emotion. The feeling for the fans, for the players, for ourselves, so how important. We have a lot of pressure, you know, for the club go to the Champions League next season, and the last 2 games, Everton away and here Aston Villa were so difficult, and the players behave unbelievable, so we are really pleased in that terms.
I think you celebrated for more than half a minute. I've never seen you jump so high.
I was so happy, yeah. I have to admit it. So that moment I said, okay, try to don't lose the game, because 1-1 is not a bad result, but it's not bad. But the action from Jeremy, I know how he can create something for his pace, and after that it was brilliant, and we arrived players in the box, you know, a lot of players. So football, if you are in this business to live the disappointment, but always the good moments.
But also, when you talk about that word and emotion, you use that word emotion, you go through every emotion, but at the end, to have the emotion that you have, it's what keeps you going.
Yeah, it had to do. So the team fought a lot, so the performance was really, really good in all departments. It's a team like they can play, they can run, and how they associate each other. So it's a fantastic team. So, and we were able to do it.
I know you don't look back and think it hasn't been the season you want it to, but all the players now have accepted that, and it's clear they've accepted that, and they are going and they are driving forward to what can be achieved. When you look at it, do you think this could be a real special season, bearing in mind you've got the FA Cup as well?
The season has been bad. So it's not so it's going to happen the last month and a half. So the season has not been good. It doesn't matter where it's the final, with the incredible tough against Nottingham Forest, or qualification for the Champions League. So the reality is that. So what make you feel the season is good is the Premier League, not the Champions League, not the FA Cups. It's the consistency in the Champions League and in the Premier League, and we have not been. But it happened, you know, and sometimes you have bad seasons for many reasons that everybody knows. But you try to, until the end, to try to avoid the damage. And of course, you can qualify for the Champions League, because look the team. So Liverpool was already champion, will be champion, and Arsenal, what can I say? But look the other ones. Chelsea, Aston Villa, Newcastle, ourselves, and Nottingham Forest now come up. So the level of the teams is outstanding. So that's why always made this step to go there is really important. Okay?
Very quickly, but you have the semi-final this weekend, an opportunity to go to the FA Cup final. You have this great opportunity now to play in Champions League football next season, which is what you wanted it to be. But you've just spoken about the feeling and having it back, and how important is it to have that feeling back for this stage of the season with the remaining games to go?
No, since the Bournemouth game in FA Cup, the team changed. We can play good. In Old Trafford, for example, we don't play good. In the game against Everton, Wilson Park, we didn't play good. But we fought, you know, we were there, we tried to win duels, and that is the principle. And this season we didn't have that. We didn't have the energy for many reasons, for situations that I know perfectly. We didn't have that. But okay, never is late, and good lesson for the next season.
Keep smiling, Pep. Enjoy the weekend.
I will.
It was was just about smiling. He certainly wasn't smiling as much as he was at this point, which is when that goal went in. Manchester City's latest winner at home in the Premier League since November 2022. It came on 93 minutes and 21 seconds. Incidentally, for comparison, Sergio Aguero's winning goal that won Manchester City the title, 93 minutes and 20 seconds. That's how late this goal was. But he said we don't get that feeling very often at Manchester City. Only two teams have scored more goals than Manchester City this season in added time. So he's used to that feeling, but maybe not that kind of tension in terms of what he's trying to achieve and that sense of relief.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the standards they've set over the last 3 or 4 years, and they've just come off it. I think he's been really harsh on his team there with his comments in. It's not been, well, obviously not been consistent. They had a tough start, obviously a huge setback with Rodri, and they've not been at their very best. But that was always going to happen. But I still think if they can win the FA Cup and get in that Champions League, then it's not bad going. But it's just because they've set the standards so high over the last few years that any sort of drop-off kind of does look back. But if you step back, and I'm sure Pep will with his staff, come this summer, look at the bigger picture and go, you know, considering all the setbacks and disappointments we had, even missing Haaland tonight, this group of players have dug in. For all their qualities, you've got to dig into the professional footballer, and they've done that again tonight. I'm not saying they were brilliant to watch or creating loads of chances, but they found that bit of will and that spirit and somebody off the bench to create something. It shows a good mentality from their subs. I thought probably Villa subs lacked that when they came on. I don't think they gave them any sort of impetus. So that's why I would give all the credit to City tonight.
Yeah, it's been unusual for Villa not to get any kind of momentum from their subs. That's something that's worked for them so far this season. As for Manchester City, can both things be true for City, Shay? The fact that it has been overall a disappointing season, but from where City have been at times this season, that to qualify for the Champions League and win the FA Cup can make it to bring a degree of success.
Yeah, it's kind of like the perfect storm, as Roy mentions the injuries and you know, they're 4 times Premier League champions in a row. At some point they're going to drop off. They're going to be a bit of a dip. The team will need rebuilding. Of course, Pep will have to do that over the summer as well. But they're third in the Premier League. It's not like a crisis. They're sitting halfway down the table. They're in an FA Cup semi-final at the weekend. You know, again, the likes of De Bruyne will leave in the summer, and I'm sure he'll want to leave with his hands on one, the final trophy. But it's not been a disaster. I mean, Pep has not always looked at his happiest this season. I mean, that celebration was the most I've seen him celebrate probably ever, you know. But again, it shows how much he still loves the game. He's emotionally involved with the football club, and I'm sure he does want to be a part of the rebuild and bring the good times back. Not that it's that barren at the minute, but you understand what I mean. Bring the Premier League title back to this football club. But yeah, there's been a lot of key players missing, and he mentions Rodri. You know, it's such a long time ago now, but he's the Ballon d'Or winner. Like he's a top player, missing all season. But you know, it's Liverpool's time this year, and City, I'm sure, will bounce back next season.
Yeah, Pep Guardiola said he's not too used to celebrating late winners for Manchester City. Unai Emery, though, and Aston Villa are used to conceding late goals. Only Southampton have conceded more goals in added time than Villa. This time, they've gone down 2-1 at the hands of Manchester City. Here is Unai Emery with Juliet Farrington.
Unai, so close to a point. I saw your reaction when Manchester City scored their match-winning goal. You looked crushed, and you knew the impact of what that goal has done.
Good evening. We cut was time. We lost the last minute this match, but we compete well. We were close to draw. We were trying to win the match as well with the players I chose, trying to get good impact. But of course they did the same, and they scored it, and we didn't score. And overall in 90 minutes, of course, they dominated more, but we played very good competitive match, and we had our chances as well. We had to accept it, take a lot of positive things. Now is moment to try to be positive, everything we are doing. I am going to analyze the match, try to get a lot of information through it, but use positive things for Saturday in semi-final and try to separate now each competition. We are going to play against Fulham in 10 days. Now we are trying to focus quick and positive the match on Saturday.
It is a very quick turnaround. Talk to me about the positives then. What did you take from this tonight that you can take into your remaining fixtures?
We analyze, and of course everything we did before as well. We got a lot of positive information about everything, tactically, individually, and try to get full energy, positive energy for Saturday.
What have you said to the players at full time?
The same. And I am sending here the message is be positive, try to accept it, and we can't waste time now. We have to keep going and be positive and prepare the match for Saturday.
You've been in football so long, you know it's all about moments. You had those moments 17 seconds in with Marcus, could have scored, hit the post, and obviously they go and win with probably the last moment of the game. It's so intense, these Champions League places, these European places which you want to be competing in next season. You still have every chance of getting where you want to be.
Of course, we are playing in this level, and we want to try to keep the level we are achieving last year, 2 years ago, this year, and try to be very, very demanding in our way, how we can build as a stronger structure in everything. And today we play, we compete. I am so happy with the players, how they did. We lost, of course. I am disappointed, but I can't waste time.
You can't waste time. Can this drive your players even further and get even more out of them in these remaining fixtures?
Tomorrow rest, day off, and Thursday, Friday, positive and work hard to prepare the match against Crystal Palace.
Will you rest?
Yes, I will rest tomorrow. Yes, a little bit.
Well, enjoy your rest and good luck this weekend. Thank you, Unai.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure a manager ever rests, but there we go. Unai Emery will take tomorrow off, he says, and then try to come back and be positive and analyse the game. If they are going to try and take the positives from this performance, what will they be looking at?
Well, they're all lessons to learn in terms of going on to the next level. We spoke how they improved from last year with a bigger, stronger squad. But then when the club came up against City, particularly tonight, you're looking, there's still a bit to go. Even when it was tied towards the end, City found a way, a lot more experience in terms of winning bigger games. But he's a smart guy. He's an experienced manager. He was spot on there. Rest tomorrow, recover, get their energy levels up for Saturday. And they'll obviously be competing on Saturday. Palace have a game tomorrow night. I'm sure they'll make changes. But it's all about any setback in football is your reaction. And this manager over the years, anytime he's had a setback, has always reacted well. And I fully expect this Villa group of players to be ready for Saturday.
Can they use the disappointment to fuel that reaction?
Yeah, I think they've got to clear their heads first. I think he's right. Give them the day off tomorrow. You know, relax, recover. Sometimes a mental break's as good as anything, Kelly, really is in football, especially when you concede such a late goal. But again, it's a semi-final of FA Cup at the weekend. It's a perfect game to bounce back from at Wembley. What more can you ask for? And again, you'd probably go into that game, you think, against Palace, they're going to be favourites. So it's a great game to bounce back from. And again, it's not a time of the season to analyse too much or criticise too much. You've got 4 games left in the Premier League. You've got FA Cup semi-final. Focus on the next game, and it's important.
Yeah, not about patterns. It's about results at this stage of the season. It is a great way to win a game with a late winner in that game, and particularly for Mateus Nunes with his first Premier League goal for the club, to come at such a crucial moment in such a crucial race. Because as they outlined there, this season their trophy is finishing inside the top 5.
It is, and of course they've got the FA Cup to come as well. Big semi-final of the weekend. You know, obviously we're talking about De Bruyne before the show. They'll give him a send-off. Probably get their hands on the FA Cup and finish in Champions League football. But yeah, it's a massive goal for Nunes, you say rightly so, in the last minute. That's your right back popping up in the box as well, but like O'Reilly at Everton at the weekend, both full-backs popping in being very important goals for the football club. And again, when they talk about the race for the top 5, it's such a huge 3 points.
Aston Villa, only Southampton have conceded more goals in added time than Villa. In terms of the way that they played, in terms of their defending, was it injury time style defending?
Oh, listen, they'll be kicking themselves. It's a big moment for City, but for Villa, the 2 goals they gave away, brilliant play by Doku, and I'll tell you what, it's not an easy finish. You talk about this team over the years, finding a way to win football matches. Absolute show one for Villa. What a brilliant delivery. Yeah, Villa will be disappointed with their defending, decision-making here, players lunging in. Then obviously you don't mind when a player sometimes makes a mistake in terms of decision-making coming off the bench, but then you're just hoping somebody will come across and help him. And they just don't quite do enough. If you look at Konza here, he doesn't make himself bigger. Absolutely brilliant delivery, sleeping on the back post, but not an easy finish, but a huge goal for Man City. Absolute huge.
A huge goal that takes them into 3rd place in the table. And yes, they've played a game more than the teams around them. So too have Aston Villa, and they're in 7th place as things stand, level on points with Chelsea and 2 points behind Newcastle, who are now in that 5th spot. It's starting to open up a little bit of a gap between 3rd and 7th, and particularly with that 1 game extra played for Villa. How big an impact will that defeat have on them, do you think?
Well, time will tell. Of course, they've got the FA Cup themselves at the weekend to play, and can they bounce back? Me and Roy were looking off there. The fixtures, they've got relatively fixtures that we think that they could probably get maybe maximum points from. Bournemouth away maybe is one of the trickier ones, but in general, I still think they're very much in the race. There's no doubt about that. I think we mentioned the squad that Aston Villa have, the players off the bench tonight as well. They've got a very, very strong squad, and the likes of Newcastle and Nottingham Forest have still got quite a bit of work to do to make the top 5. I think Newcastle are home to Ipswich next, so they'll look at that as a big chance of getting 3 points.
Problem though for Villa, and obviously they're running out of games, and the goal difference is a big problem for them. That's why I think it's such a setback tonight. The type of goals they gave away. You look at the manager and talk about them being well organised, but you saw that stat, as you said, giving up late goals. You know, that'll be costly at the end of the season for the Champions League.
I mean, you say that they're running out of games, and they've had the game against their Champions League rival, which is, or can almost feel like a bonus victory, can't it? And there's lots of teams in that race for Champions League football who are meeting each other between now and the end of the season. That game between Nottingham Forest and Chelsea on the last day of the season might prove to be crucial, or it might be done and dusted by that. Chelsea have got Newcastle as well. There's big games.
Yeah, there'll be one or two twists, but from Villa's point of view tonight, when you get yourself in a position where you've got a draw and you think that result, you've seen the reaction of Man City tonight, and you've seen the reaction of the Villa and the Villa manager, the players. They know what a big moment that was. Last kick of the game.
It feels every match day this swings hugely in terms of the percentages, and it feels as though even just in terms of the feel, it swings massively. Obviously, City now with a 95.1% chance of finishing inside the top 5. Villa down at 17.3%. Does that look about right to you? I mean, it could all change. What that can't bring into the equation is the human factor and how other games going on and where the players are in their heads.
A normal computer?
I would say super. When you're dealing with 5 teams and 5 games remaining, I'm going to say a super.
Well, I do think for the teams around in the challenge, I think City will definitely qualify for the Champions League. I'll say that, put my neck on the line now, especially after such a late goal. So I think that's a good thing for a few of the teams. Aston Villa probably got the most ground to make up, but then I look at the fixtures that Aston Villa, and I fancy them to won a lot of them fixtures.